During the first 10 months of the war, there was an estimated figure of 1,335,027 military casualties, already reaching 13% of the total military deaths from the Great War 20 years prior, and 6% of the figure by the end of the Second World War. Thousands of civilians were also lost, along with vital equipment and resources. Our story begins in September 1939. The world had only just begun to recover from the scars of the First World War when the tides of conflict surged once again. Adolf Hitler's Germany, fueled by a relentless pursuit of territorial expansion and ideological supremacy, had already broken many of the terms of the Treaty of Versailles. In 1933, Hitler began building his military, surpassing the maximum requirement set by the Allied powers. Then he remilitarized the Rhine, which was used as a buffer zone between France and Germany, putting the French on edge. The German invasions of Austria and Czechoslovakia during the late 1930s marked significant turning points in the escalation of Nazi aggression. These invasions not only violated the principles of national sovereignty and international order, but also set the stage for further acts of hostility. These concerns would later be proved right, as on the 1st of September 1939, Hitler strikes, unleashing his military might on an unsuspecting Poland. As a result, France and Great Britain, bound by alliances and committed to upholding Poland's sovereignty, felt compelled to honor their obligations and declared war on Germany, thus entering the Second World War. In the early hours of September 1st, 1939, a storm of iron and fire descended upon Poland as the German war machine unleashed a relentless barrage of destruction. Bombs rained from the heavens, tearing apart cities and reducing once thriving communities to smoldering ruins. The thunderous roar of tanks echoed across the Polish countryside, heralding a cataclysmic invasion that plunged the nation into a nightmarish struggle for survival. Britain introduces military conscription for the second time in its history 2 days after the invasion begins. Earlier during the year in the Mediterranean, following the Italian invasion of Albania, Benito Mussolini's Italy, who were on the winning side of the Great War, further aligned themselves with Nazi Germany by signing the Pact of Steel, forming the Axis powers, but not yet joining the war effort. Despite the valiant efforts and pleas for assistance from the Polish government and people, the Allies, preoccupied with their own strategic considerations, regrettably denied substantial aid to Poland, leaving them to survive on their own. French forces outnumbered the Germans 3-1 in land divisions on land, with the Germans only choosing to leave 10% of Luftwaffe for defense. An attack from the Allies was expected, and on the 6th of September, the French launched an offensive into Germany via the Saar. 11 French divisions entered Germany, advancing as far as 8 kilometers with no resistance. In the next couple of days, the French would have more success, seizing more towns and controlling the Vent forest. But after noticing the success of the Germans in Poland, the French retreated to the Maginot, preparing for a war of attrition that was similar to the First World War. This would be the beginning of the phony war between the Allies and Germany, a war where neither side would make a move on one another. Back in the east, the Germans continued their onslaught on Poland, having major successes across the entire front, with a major encirclement just shy of Łódź, and crumbling any hope of Polish resistance when they repelled a Polish counterattack during the Battle of Warsaw. On 17th September, the Soviet Red Army invaded eastern Poland, the territory that fell into the Soviet sphere of influence according to the secret protocol of the Nazi-Soviet Pact, signed just 1 month prior. On 6 October, following the Polish defeat at the Battle of Koch, German and Soviet forces gained full control over Poland. Stalin now demanded not only Estonia, Latvia, and Lithuania as part of the Soviet sphere, but also any land he deemed to be Russian, which in turn would help his bid to secure a compact area of defense for the Soviet Union. Hitler, unwilling to fight a war on two fronts, immediately accepted these terms. Both Western and Eastern Poland was now split between the Nazis and Soviets. The Russians, who are now fully engulfed in the war, set their eyes on Finland, who refused Soviet claims over Finnish land. Without a declaration of war, Stalin's Russia launches an attack on Finland. This decision led to international condemnation, resulting in their expulsion from the League of Nations, severing ties with the major global powers and further isolating the Soviet Union on the world stage. In a chilling display of military might, the Soviet Union amassed a formidable force of 750,000 soldiers and unleashed them upon Finland during the Winter War, a conflict that would far exceed the expectations of Russian high command, despite the Finns only amounting 32 tanks and 138 aircraft, a measly total compared to the thousands in the Soviet arsenal. The war would wage on through the winter, marking the last invasion of 1939. On December the 13th, the Royal Navy scored its first victory against the Kriegsmarine in the Battle of the River Plate, where Henry Harwood's fleet sank a German cruiser. Over 100 lives were lost in the battle. 2 months into the Winter War, the Soviet 163rd Rifle Division attempted to break through Finnish lines at the Mannerheim Line, a defensive line which was rumored to be even greater than that of the Maginot in France. A small Russian breakthrough was achieved before being halted. During the months of February and March, the Soviet Union would shell Finnish cities and towns, decreasing the war support amongst the Finnish population. This, along with the steady Soviet advances to the Karelian Isthmus, forced the Finns to sue for peace. On the 12th of March 1940, the Moscow Peace Treaty was signed, ending the Winter War. The terms of the treaty required Finland to cede a significant amount of its territory over the Soviet Union.